a book on the Toon Corner, and today I'll be talking about a time when we saw Toon mascots in comics. It all started all the way back during the 1980s, when we have received a series of comic books starring the Kool-aid Man. The first 3 issues were published by Marvel Comics, while the other 6 were published by the Archie Comics. During the 90s, a underrated Toon mascot has received his very own comic book, and his name is Jello Man. During that time, Jello Man has only appeared in a couple of commercials here and there. And so, what I have with me is the first and only issue of The Adventures of Jello Man and Wobbly. A fun thing that I would like to point out is that there are 3 stories in one comic book. True, the stories are short, but if you're able to find more than one story in a comic book whenever you're shopping for comic books, I think that is a pretty good deal, in my opinion. Another thing that happened during the 90s is that we have received a series of kid magazines called Adventures in the Breakfast Zone. And so in this series of kid magazines, we would see serial mascots like Trix Rabbit and Count Chocula, for example. And so, just like any other kid magazine, you got activities, advertisements, and a comic. And so, in this issue that I have here, I have a comic starring the Trix Rabbit. Nowadays, it is pretty rare to find a comic starring a Toon mascot. Almost as rare as trying to find a comic book starring the Three Stooges. In fact, the idea of a mascot appearing in comics is actually older than the Kool-aid Man comics I have mentioned earlier. You see, before television was a big thing, most mascots were originally comic strip characters. For example, during the 1930s, there was a comic strip character named Marvin JELL-O, and basically during that time he was just simply a spokesperson for Jello gelatin. And the question of the day is, do you enjoy reading comics? Just let me know in the comment section down below if you have requests. And I'll see you next time in Toon Corner.